Welcome back, everybody. It's your pal Orange Eye here to bring you back on another episode of Tuesday Theme Stream. And it's episode 11, the Bourne Supremacy. This week, or this month, is Jason Bourne Tuesdays, where I am covering all the Bourne movies minus Legacy, because Jason Bourne's not in it. He's only mentioned in it. However, there are things, or that does cover some of the Bourne Ultimatum, which I will talk about next week. But this movie is the one that I'm discussing right now, which is Jason, or the Bourne Supremacy, with the subtitle, They Should Have Just Left Him Alone. So, before we get started, excuse me. If you want to support my channel, check out my playlists. I have the mystery reviews. I have the MCU Saga Sundays, Tolkien Sundays. I've discussed a bunch of different movies with different panels. I've done versus streams. All these you can cover or check out to help build my watch time. I'm trying to get to 4,000 hours. I need 1,100 more hours to go. So please do help it, or that's the best way to help. Also, if you like my content, please feel free to support to my channel or subscribe to my channel. That is the best way that you can support it as well. Not to mention, just watch my videos. I got one out earlier that YouTube seems to be suppressing. So if you can check that one out as well, leave a like on it on your way out through. That'll help. Tomorrow or tonight, I'm going to be on the Barroom Podcast with Society Reviews channel. We're going to be discussing Hollywood stuff, mostly the insanity that is Hollywood, as well as we will be, or Wednesday, I will be on Ones and Twos with Mara. We're going to be discussing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secrets of the Ooze. And then Thursday, I'm coming onto my channel with Mara to do Shin Godzilla in respects to the new Godzilla that's coming, Godzilla -1. And then Sunday, I will be, or I think I got a stream coming up on Friday night on another person's channel. It's going to be like a one-on-one interview. I'm blanking on the name. I'm sorry about that. Tomorrow or Sunday, then I will also be on my own channel doing the appendices for Tolkien Sundays. So without further ado, let's get into the Bourne Supremacy. Let's say hello to the chat too while I'm at it. Vanya, thank you for tuning in. Always appreciate you, my friend. So this one is directed by Paul Greengrass, and he would direct the next one as well as the conclusion to the Bourne movies. This movie stars Matt Damon, Franca Potente, Brian Cox, Julia Stiles, Carl Urban, Joan Allen, and others. Returning is Chris Cullen or Brett Cullen, one of the Cullens, the one who played Conklin. Brian Cox is returning, and the one who played Danny Zorn is returning, as well as Matt Damon. So this movie starts with a dream, where the other movie started with the chaos of him failing his last mission and him being in the ocean. This one starts with a dream with Conklin and how he's being told this isn't a drill. It really does do a good job at keeping the cinematography like smudged, smudged is the best way that I could put it. One second, folks. Back. Sorry about that. Thought I heard something. Anyway, yes, the cinematography for that scene is smudged. You see flashes of different scenes within the dream, and you hear this woman struggling and kind of crying and whatnot, crying out, and then you hear a gunshot and it wakes Jason up. Well, we learn that Jason is in Goa, India with Marie, and she knows Jason for a while now. He fell off, or they fell off the grid together. He was completely out. Treadstone shut down. All of that stuff happened in the end of the first movie. He is now with Marie, and they have a happy life together. And she's like, anything new? Or he's trying to pass it off as just a headache. Well, he's like, no, it's the same dream every night. Or Conklin, rain. And she's like, maybe it's just a bad dream. He's like, no, it was a mission. He knows deep down that this was a mission. And so she's like, you should write it down. And you establish that Jason has been writing everything he has dreamed in scribbles in a journal, where he's been writing down everything that he has dreamt about to try to put the pieces back together in some sort of cohesive manner. This is a man who is wound very tight due to the training he has, and he's trying to get back some semblance of a peaceful past. And unfortunately, he is struggling as the time has passed. So Marie is really a good counter to help with all that chaos, because he's constantly has that inner turmoil. So then we are in Berlin, Germany, the next scene, to introduce to Pamela Landy, brilliantly by Joan Allen, by the way. And she's running a mission that goes sideways, and while trying to ferret out a mole in the CIA, and we see that the op was screwed sideways, and Jason Bourne is framed. And this is also an intro to the character Kirill, played by Karl Urban from Lord of the Rings. He played Éomer, and he also plays Dredd. He plays a lot of good characters, folks. Karl Urban is a great actor, and he plays he does the Russian voice pretty well, and the Russian accent pretty well. So he's an assassin for this Russian oil tycoon, and he steals these files on a guy named Nesky. So yeah, just as Pamela Landy is about to blow the horn on a whistle or on a mole in the CIA, her op goes sideways. So it's like, that can't be coincidence, you know? This seems to be one of the more important stories in the main story, of which is going to bring Bourne out of hiding. Because remember, he's just been framed because when they go to check the print that they find on an unexploded explosive, it goes back to Operation Treadstone, classified level 5 access needed. So yeah. Well, let's see here. Kirill returns to Russia to report in, and he gets his next target, which is Bourne. And Bourne is living a peaceful life in Goa, India. And this guy ends up showing up, and Bourne immediately knows that it's trouble because, well, there's a car that doesn't look like any other car in India. This car is high end, where you have in the area where they are, you have three-wheeled vehicles, three-wheeled cars, where the front of the vehicle is a single wheel, and they're very shanty vehicles. Well, this one is anything but, and the person inside it looks like he's trying to fit in as a tourist. It's just not working. And Jason Bourne clocks this guy immediately as a threat. So he goes to pick up Marie, who is out and about. And he's like, we're blown. We got lazy. They found us. And she's like, how do you know? So she's doubtful. I mean, I can understand her. She's ever the optimist. And he's like, we don't have a choice. I warned them what would happen if they ever tried coming after us. And, well, unfortunately, she is a casualty of this encounter. They were getting chased. She was driving, and Carol ends up putting a bullet through the driver's side of the vehicle, killing Marie. And they go into a bridge and the underwater. It is such heartbreak to see Jason Bourne trying to revive her. And then he has to let her go because he realizes he can't save her. He had a semblance of a good life, a peaceful life, even though he had the inner turmoil. And that just got snatched from him, and he thinks it's Treadstone because he doesn't know what happened after he walked out of that building in the first movie. He doesn't know that Conklin's been killed. He doesn't know that Treadstone was shut down. All he knows is my girlfriend or significant other has been killed, and it is most likely the CIA who did this. So, yeah, he starts burning all of the remnants of his old life, her pictures, except for one that he keeps. And he makes his way immediately to Naples using the Jason Bourne passport. Now, while this is all happening, while he is erasing his past with Marie, Berlin has the police investigating, and let's see here. Pam is now talking to the director, and she's like, I need level 5 access to Treadstone. Why are you even bringing that up? Because that's where the path dead ends. My op was screwed by one of our own, and it came back to Treadstone. So I'm going to need a level 5 security clearance initiative, or SCI, and I'm going to need to go over that file to see what the hell's going on. So she looks into it, and she sees that Abbott, one of her friends, is a part of it. Brian Cox returns as Abbott. Now, Abbott in the first movie, you kind of get the feeling that he is a person who doesn't, or who helps, or who is willing to just let it all go. And he does. However, in this, you figure out that Abbott is a lot darker. Where in the first movie, they actually had a different ending, an alternative ending, where Abbott basically lets Bourne know nobody's going to be coming after you. Nobody, or Conklin's gone. He ain't going to be a problem for you anymore. And he's basically like this nice, or he's basically letting Bourne know that he's free. However, that was an alternate ending in case the movie didn't make it well in the box office, you know? And as we all know, it did, and other movies were spawned because of it. Now, the chase sequence through India, I do want to go back to that for a moment because they do show a lot of chaotic camera shakes, and I can forgive that because when you are doing a chase sequence, you want to do what's known as quick cut and shake the camera, not to the point where it is absolutely jarring you out of the sequence. So I'm going to hold my camera here, and I'm basically going to go like this. Or this would take you out of the conversation, where having it like this is not too bad. So let me get my camera back down here, where having it like this or shaking it like this is not going to harm the scene because it's a chaotic scene, and this helps sell the chaos of what's going on. Where if you have a camera that's doing this, you're gonna have that takes the viewer out of it. Now, if you have other scenes that are, let me get this. There we go. If you have other scenes that are tracking where you don't have, or where you are having a fight scene or something, and where you have a person doing moves and all that whatnot, and it's doing the same thing, there are a couple of scenes like that in this movie where the fight scenes are so chaotic that you can't keep up with them. Now, usually I would say that is a flaw. That is something that goes very much in the negative, where actually it's to really iterate that these are two people, because Jason Bourne finds the last Treadstone agent that he is all, or because he was an agent and this guy was also another, basically a Treadstone assassin. And he goes to see what's going on with Treadstone, and the guy informs him Treadstone was closed down 2 years ago. And we're the last two left. And he knows that this guy is no slouch. He knows that this guy is just like him. He's able to do, or he's able to kill very easily. And we get that fight, which is later on. I mean, I am getting ahead of myself here, because when he shows up, and I do want to go over this because it's part of the whole camera shaking thing. I mean, if you have a movie that shows a very static camera, where it's just like this camera here, where it's showing the two people fighting, that is all well and good, but having a little bit of shake and whatnot can actually enhance the effect of what is going on, because you know that, or it brings a sense of realism into the scene in which you are seeing, showing that these guys are fighting. Obviously, the cameraman can't be in the same spot, so yeah, he's going to try to get the hell out of the way and whatnot. So they actually do a great job at selling that, you know? So that is what the importance of cinematography really is. You're getting good angles. You have you also, when you're doing these angles, you need to make sure that you have proper consistency or continuity in each part of your scene. So say you're shooting at me from this angle, as you can see me right now, and you see this cane here. All right, so then when they cut to another angle, let me just put it over here, get the spotlight out of the way, and they're talking about somebody else, like right here. And when they cut between the two scenes, the cane is gone. That's what's known as bad continuity. That's what's actually bad cinematography. Because when you have, or you got to be aware of all the different things that you are placing your camera in. One of the things that they do very well in this movie is that they have things like that you see minor details are kept in check with the continuity. And so moving on, Pam is granted security access. She starts asking Brian Cox's character Abbott about Treadstone. He's like, never heard of it. That's not going to fly. I'm sorry, Pam, but it seems you may have wandered a little bit past your pay grade. So she shows him the warrant, and he's like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to burn me? Nobody around this area wants to talk about Treadstone. She's like, all I want to know is what happened. What happened? Jason Bourne happened. He was given an assignment, he screwed the op, and then he went nuts, essentially, and Conklin couldn't handle it, so I had to step in. And she's like, so let's cut through the bullshit. And so she's like, so you had Conklin killed? I mean, since we're cutting through the bullshit. He's like, I'm not going to have you dangling this over me. So they basically go to the next meeting with the director and talk, because while they're going over what happened in Berlin, Jason Bourne up in Naples with his flag port or his passport flagged. So I love that scene because he goes in, he's not saying a single word to anybody. So when he goes in, it is so freaking great when it is done. 1 second. So yeah, when he's brought in, he's basically waiting for his opportunity. Everything Jason Bourne does has a purpose. Getting flagged, he knows his passport's going to be flagged. So that's why he used it. He wanted to be flagged. This is his investigative abilities. And they are, like I said, back in the one for Jason Bourne or the Bourne Identity, these people who are like Jason Bourne are dialed up to 11 when the dial only goes to 10. So these people are hyper compulsive. They have compulsive behavior, meaning they're almost autistic with their regiment, meaning if they have a thing or a certain way of doing things, they're going to do it like that every time without fail. And if you interrupt that, they will react often with a lot of irritation, so to speak. Let's move this back here because, yeah, there we go. So, yeah, when he is, so these people were just basically wound too tight, and that's exactly how Abbott puts it. So when they're all talking about, we got to figure out why this guy is back to kill again, Pam Landy thinks that he's, or Bourne is part of the whole CIA mole thing. And Abbott, whenever he talks or whenever that is mentioned, Abbott has these small reactions, these tells that it's like maybe he might be involved in it somehow or another. We don't yet know. But we do figure out that Abbott is actually the mole. And that is a great way. They don't tip you off until later. He just wants this shit off the table. He's due to retire in a year, and he just doesn't want any of this fucking coming back to him, you know? So, talking points here on my phone. Let's see here. He is listening. So, yes, Bourne interrogated in Naples when this guy is basically trying to understand why. He's like, what brings you to Naples, Bourne, and yada, yada, yada. And this dude is just new for 4 years, has only been in the CIA for 4 years. He's like, yeah, this guy's ID got flagged, so I got to talk to him. Don't worry, it shouldn't be a problem. I mean, these are this is a good writing example, folks. This delves into the writing where you have a character who is completely underestimating the situation he is in. He does not realize that he is in one of the most dangerous situations of his life because you are about to actually go into an interrogation with one of the top assassins of the world. Jason Bourne is just sitting there like this during the whole time. But the second that guy gets a call, that's when Jason Bourne's like, and starts looking up. And the guy on the phone tells his interrogator, do you have a Jason Bourne in custody? Yeah. He is a CIA priority target, meaning kill him immediately. There is a kill order on Jason Bourne. Kill immediately, shoot on sight, do not freaking engage, and whatnot. So this guy just completely tells it out or spells it out for Jason. It's like, right. Slowly putting the phone away, quickly reaches in, and that's when Jason just springs up into action, hitting him once, cracking the guy next to him, and then cracking the agent again. He now has the gun, and in no time flat, he goes to work on the guy's phone, takes out the SIM card, plugs it into his or a card reader that's attached to his phone. Using the SIM card attached to a chip in the card, he is able to clone the phone. essentially. This is old school cell phone cloning. Nowadays, you could do it with a fucking app, apparently, on movies. But this was old school cloning where you didn't have to have the same model phone. So as he escapes, he makes sure to bar the exit so they can't do it. And so when Pam calls him, it's like, do you have Jason Bourne in custody? No, I think he got away because this dude just got knocked the fuck out. And Jason Bourne's now on the move, listening into this call and learning 2 weeks or 2 weeks ago, he killed a person or two people in Berlin. One of them a highly skilled field agent. And this is what he reacts to. He's like, what? And so he's realizing, what the hell are they trying to frame me for? I was in India 2 weeks ago watching Marie get killed, essentially. So you see all of these little details, his reactions, all of it tells the story that you can almost see the gears twisting in Bourne's head, turning in Bourne's head. Like, who the hell is this woman? Okay, I need to find out more about her and kill her if she's the one running Treadstone. So he is basically turning all of their best skills on the CIA. And that is what I love about this. When a person that you have trained uses your skills that you taught them against you, it is the most dangerous adversary you can ever see and ever have and ever freaking go up against, because this is a person who will not hesitate to kill you if you are the one responsible for his woes. That is what I like about Jason Bourne. So getting back into it, he also switches out plates, which is very pertinent to do when you are trying to cross borders and you don't want your plates read and whatnot. So he steals a car, switches the plates, and he's listening in on a call. So he's then seeing more memories of Conklin. He's in the Netherlands, or we are then seen in the Netherlands with Nikki getting picked up. Julia Stiles now has shorter hair. I think she does a wonderful job in this movie, where she had longer hair in the first one. She was basically getting off of 10 Things I Hate About You and possibly a couple other things. And now she's in the Bourne universe. So now she's a student in the Netherlands, and they're picking her up and they're interrogating Nikki to learn about more about Treadstone. And she was in charge of logistics and the health monitoring of the agents. Treadstone agents had a variety of problems, including depression, anger, compulsive behavior, headaches, and sensitivity to light. Before Bourne, there was no cases of amnesia. So they don't understand that something happened to Bourne to give him the amnesia. Like maybe the trauma of being shot in the back, which he got shot twice in the back. Now, continuing on. Okay, well, good luck. No, you're coming with us. You might be useful. We get beautiful scenery as Bourne is driving into Germany, and all parties are basically converging in Berlin. So Nikki, he's like, this is his first mistake. I mean, Nikki's like, it's not a mistake. And they're all looking out. They don't make mistakes. Everything they do has a purpose. He's looking for his heart, or that's how they operate. Go in, find a target, take it out. And so when Landy is like, we were always the ones assigning the targets. Who's assigning them now? Scary version? He is. I love that line, because this is a woman, while she doesn't know Bourne personally, she knows that this person is indeed as deadly as they come. And if he is on his own and assigning his own targets, essentially, you don't want this person coming after you. They will come after you. They will kill you. And they will fade away as if they were made of smoke. Not literally, but figuratively. That is basically how they were trained. You go in, you infiltrate, you destabilize, assassinate, and then you fade out. Like you are just part of the crowd. Kind of like the Winter Soldier. Or rather, the other Winter Soldiers that they were making in Civil War. But anyway, Bourne goes after the other Treadstone agent. I already talked about that. We also see him in the aftermath of it. We see him blow up the house using a loose gas pipe and a toaster with a magazine in it. So that's interesting, or that's a great thing there. I mean, it shows the efficiency and adaptability of Jason Bourne and his skills. He is able to do all sort. He is basically like MacGyver on steroids, and that is another thing that I really like about the writing of this. These people have so many skills. You can't help but want to pay more attention to the movie to see. It's like, oh, that's interesting. I better just write that down. Maybe it comes in handy later, you know. And that is just the fast-pacedness of Jason Bourne. So we then get the scare moment. And I call this the scare moment because Jason Bourne has been looking at it. He finds out which hotel he's in or she's in using his own investigative skills, calling different hotels, learning where she is. He then calls Pamela or calls the hotel with the cell phone and then sees her pick up the phone. And then he goes to the main desk. Hi, I'm looking for a Pamela Landy. And then he watches the woman type in the numbers 235. Okay, now I know what room she's in. So now now I also know that it's confirmed she's in that because she just picked up that phone. Or it's busy and she's on the phone with me right now. So yeah, these little bits of what you might think is tedious is actually very investigative things that they would do to figure out where my target is, how best to access them, watch her, gain her, or see what her pattern of travel is, and then whatnot. So he follows her when she leaves, and he sets up on the top of the building opposite them. And he has his thing, or he has a rifle scope ready. He has the rifle ready. He has his finger on the trigger. And he then calls her. This is Jason Bourne. Everybody freaking start triangulating this guy. But she doesn't say that. She's just like, get everybody going. And it's like, Bourne's calling her. We got to trace the cell. And I love this moment because she's like, okay, Bourne. He puts his finger on the trigger. Are you running Treadstone? Depending on her answer, that trigger is pulled or not pulled. It turns out it wasn't pulled because she's like, Treadstone was closed down 2 years ago. You know that. Actually, I don't know that. But thank you for confirming after I talked with one guy and killed him. And so he's like, why you all want with me? You killed 2 people, Bourne, or Berlin. You killed 2 people, Bourne. And this triggers more of memories because apparently he was in Berlin and he killed 2 people. It's just not the 2 people that they think, you know? So when he's kind of paused out a little bit, he's like, I want to come in, but I want to come in with somebody who I'm familiar with. There was a woman in Paris because he also sees that Nikki is there. And so he's like, or he sets it up at Alexander Strasse, and 30 minutes, give her your phone. She comes alone. And she's like, well, what if I can't find her? And this is the scare moment, folks. And I absolutely love it. He's like, shouldn't be too hard. She's standing right next to you. And that's when Pamela Landy looks right out where he might be, across the freaking, or out the window and whatnot, because it's like, oh shit, this person was freaking there, you know? But I mean, we're seeing it through the sniper scope when she panic reacts. Chances are he's already on the move. and outside of that building when he says it shouldn't be too hard, she's standing right next to you, kind of thing. I mean, realistically, that is probably what happened because they can't find anything when you look across the way. So now they're all freaking out about this meeting with Bourne. It's like, are we talking about protecting Nikki or killing Bourne? Nikki's like, we're talking about killing Bourne. I don't want to go. She's freaking out because she doesn't want to go out there. And it's like, or freaking Landy's like, you're not hearing me. I don't want him dead. Bourne dead gives me nothing. I need him alive. So after a fight with Abbott, she relents and it's like, okay, we could do this both ways. Put some snipers up. If we can't get him to come in quietly, we take him down. So Bourne masterfully isolates Nikki when she goes to the meeting place and he starts talking to her. She keeps the phone on knowing she's also wired. And she's asking, it's like, why are you doing this, Bourne? And he's like, who is Pamela Landy? She's basically giving everything up. She's a logistics personnel. She's not trained for resisting interrogation, you know? And so he then brings her in an area where he knows that they can't listen. After he already says, or she's like, they found or lifted a print in Berlin, found out or linked it to Treadstone, and knew it was you. And he's like, are they insane? 2 weeks ago, I was in India watching Marie die. How could I was 4,000 miles away. So what the hell is going on? Why are you people trying to frame me? So he then puts her in an area where he knows would not have any good things that are basically what's known as natural dead zones. And these are things that Jason Bourne is aware of. He knows that how wire systems works. He knows how audio systems works. He knows how receivers work. So if you go into an area with a natural or a resonance area that has bad harmonic resonance, that's going to jam your frequencies, he'll know about that kind of thing. And that is another cool thing. Hey, Hatersaurus, you got 2 people watching. Have a chat. I haven't seen these, though they've been on TV and I didn't pay attention. Hatersaurus, honestly, I recommend you watch the Jason Bourne movies. You can skip Legacy. It has nothing to do with Jason Bourne. But yeah, Identity, Supremacy, Ultimatum, and Jason Bourne, give them a watch. You might like them. So, and thank you for stopping in. Make sure that you smash the like, folks. So when he's realizing about the mission that Pamela was going after, some Russian politician, he realizes Nevsky. And then he's having these flashes of his memory. So he's like, when was I here? When was I in Berlin? It was my first job. She's like, you never worked Berlin before. It was my first job. And she only has the on-file missions from Treadstone. She's like, your first mission was Geneva. And he's pissed off because he thinks she's fucking with him. The only logical conclusion is this was before he was put into Treadstone. So the mission that he had in Berlin preceded Treadstone, or was black on black op, meaning there is no file on it. So yeah, he's like, I know I was here, Nikki. I know I was here. And then he just turns or disappears while she is cowering with a gun to her head. Yeah. It is such a powerful moment. I mean, Julia Stiles is a great actress. She sells that really well. Matt Damon is also no slouch when it comes to acting. I mean, this dude is there's a reason why people like the Bourne movies, you know? Aside from Legacy, I can see why people don't like Legacy because it doesn't have Bourne in it. But honestly, I do like Bourne Legacy. It's different, you know? But it also keeps with the spirit of Bourne. So we then see that Bourne's looking into Nevsky, and after the op to try to get Bourne to come in is fucked over. Danny Zorn, who was Abbott's assistant, takes Abbott down to the scene where they blew the power grid for Pamela Landy's op going bad, and he points out the flaws, and he's like, "Yep, Bourne knows how to take out a grid. He wouldn't make this sort of mistake, you know." And he's like, "Have you told anybody else about this?" "No, just you. Or I wanted you to know before I take it up to Landy." "All right, well, show me again." And as he starts to explain it, we now learn that Abbott is indeed not who he says he is, because he kills Danny Zorn, stabs him and whatnot. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? When I first saw this movie, I was like, why did he kill him? What the? Oh, right. When I was younger, I was a little bit more naive, folks. So it's like, why did he kill him again? It's not making much sense. So, yeah. Bourne being innocent is not in Abbott's plans, essentially. So now Bourne tries to visit the hotel that he killed Nesky in and his wife. Now, the story behind Nesky, the official out in the public story, is Nesky was killed by his wife and then she took her own life, leaving behind their daughter. What they don't realize, or the truth of the story, what the public doesn't know, Bourne killed both of them, did not mean to kill the wife, but the wife was there, so he had no choice. So he's going up there to check out the room. He books the room across from it and breaks into the other room because he knows that immediately the police are going to show up there very soon and look to apprehend him. So, yeah. Or you think that this is getting close to the end of the movie, which it isn't. This is actually closer to the final bit of the second act. We're in the second act where it would make a perfect third act. I'll tell you that right now. But this second act conclusion is insane because it gives a more third act vibe. After Bourne is seen, or when he evades capture from the German police, he gets out of there, and Pamela Landy and the CIA are investigating. It's like, why would he come here? Or what is his connection to Nesky? You know? So they're trying to figure this all out. I mean, they have their theories, but there's nothing concrete. So I like how they do that, you know? And Abbott's like, where's Danny Zorn? I haven't seen him. Well, at this time, he realizes that, oh shit, this is where Bourne killed Nesky. I need to get back to my place right now. And so, yeah, to the hotel. And he gets into his office and he calls this Yuri guy, who is that oil tycoon. He tells me, he's like, I made you rich and whatnot. I don't owe you a damn thing. And he's like, you were supposed to kill Bourne. Get Bourne, or you got to get Bourne. Kill Jason Bourne. Well, the guy hangs up on him, and then he realizes that he's not alone. He's like, I don't suppose calling for help will do me any good, will it? No, not really. Bourne is behind him. And I love how the scene plays out. He's like, why'd you frame me? Why'd you try to kill me? You guys killed Marie. You killed Marie. The second you involved her, she was dead. And it was supposed to be you. We wanted to frame you, and it would have taken any suspicion off me, and they would have been chasing a ghost for 10 years. And so he puts a bullet or a gun or what is perceived to be a gun to Abbott's head. And he tells him, or Abbott tries telling him, he's like, this isn't going to help you, Jason. You're a killer. You always have been. And then he's like, go on, do it. Do it. Do it. She wouldn't want me to. That's the only reason you're alive. And then he shows him the tape recorder that was against the back of his head, and he clicks the off button. So now Abbott knows he's recorded his entire confession has been recorded. Even most likely his conversation with that Yuri fella. So yeah, Abbott realizes he's fucked. And Pamela Landy is going to check on Abbott because she also learned that Danny Zorn had been killed. And, well, you see Abbott is drinking in his office. Now, before Bourne left, he left a gun next to Abbott's head. Basically, it's like, that's the only reason you're alive. Click. And then he slams the gun down next to Abbott's head. And leaves. So Abbott is getting a little bit of liquid encouragement. Love that scene. And he tells, or as Pamela walks in, he's holding the gun on her. And he's like, I'm a patriot. I won't apologize for anything I did. And what does that make Danny Zorn? Unlucky? I'm not sorry. And he slowly brings the gun up before he then quickly does the deed. And you see Pamela Landy's reaction, obviously. Now, the thing is, folks, during this scene, they actually increased the volume of the gunshot a little bit in order to actually sell the impact of what this meant. This was the final act, this was the final act of the second act, the conclusion of the second act, which is a very third act kind of conclusion. And I really like how they did that. So now, Bourne is going to Bourne is now going to Moscow. And Yuri tells his assassin Kirill that Jason Bourne is still alive. He's like, why'd you turn your phone off? You gave me a month, or you told me that I had a month off. That was, or you told me that Jason Bourne was dead. Fix it. So now Pamela Landy listens to the tape sent by Bourne to her hotel room. And so she's like, oh my God, it all makes sense now. Jason Bourne basically just did my work for me. My agents didn't die for nothing now. I'm done. We're done. But we do also got to go to Moscow first to get this guy Yuri. So Bourne is looking for Nesky's daughter. And while Bourne is walking off someplace, evading the Russian authorities because now they know he's there, he expects this. That is how they do it so well. It's because he knows that once he is in a certain place, he knows that the authorities are most likely going to be notified, so he has to move as quick as he can to get what he needs done. So while he's walking away, you also see Kirill stop his car, point his gun, and then you see Jason go down after a gunshot, and then the Russian police are going after this guy for firing a gun, and you hear him say, I'm Secret Service. I'm Secret Service. It's like, Russians have a Secret Service? So they check his ID, and it turns out he's Secret Service. Holy shit. So it turns out this oil tycoon has Secret Service in his frickin' pocket. Communism at its best, folks. They're corrupt as fuck. You know? So after a great chase through Russia, Kirill ends up crashing in a tunnel, and Jason Bourne goes up, has his gun on him, and whatnot, but he sees that Kirill's no longer a threat, so he's like, I don't need to be here. I don't need to show these people that I'm about to kill this man. As far as they were concerned, I left him alive. Any witnesses can attest to that. So when he finds Nesky's daughter, he confesses and apologizes to her. He's like, does that picture mean anything to you? No, it's just a picture. It's a picture of her parents. It should mean something to you. You know the official story about how your parents died. But that's not what happened. I was young. I was supposed to kill your father only. And that was it. Your mom came in, surprised me. I had no choice. He's admitting this all to her. And he's realizing your parents were not who the people said they were. They were good people. Unfortunately, I was given an order that I had no choice but to follow. And then he leaves her alone. And that's the end of the third act. So we get to the epilogue scene, basically, where it is in New York City. And this is actually part of the Bourne ultimatum. We learn in the next movie where this scene is taking place near the end of Bourne ultimatum, where he's talking with Pam, and she's explaining that everything has been tied up thanks to Bourne. And he's like, I gotta go. And she's like, wait, before you go, your name is David Webb. You were born 4/15/71 in Nixon, Missouri. So this is a nice conclusion to the movie in case another movie isn't made, in case this movie doesn't do well. Turns out this movie did well, and the Bourne ultimatum adopts this scene for its movie, which I will cover in the next Tuesday. And I love the second scare because he's like, you look tired. Get some rest, Pam. And then he hangs up and she looks back and she's like, what the fuck? It's such a freaking great thing. And then you hear the same song that ends the first movie. These places are back again, or extreme places are back again, or whatever. I believe it was also Colin that sang the song too from the first movie. But yep, Bourne then just walks off, and that's the end of this movie. Objectively speaking, I will say that the Bourne movies work. Even with the chaotic cinematography that they have in many scenes, that's actually done on purpose. So I won't take too much off of it. However, some of it, or it does kind of get a little too chaotic in some ways if you are not understanding the context of the shaky cam of cinematography. So yes, there are people who won't understand that. So objectively, this movie is about an 8.5 to a 9. Subjectively, this movie, I love it. It's a 10. All the Bourne movies, in my opinion, are a 10 subjectively. Moviegoer, if you are into these spycraft movies and these fast-paced action spy movies, these are definitely movies you should watch. So yeah, Jason Bourne or Bourne Supremacy, moviegoer, it's a 10 out of 10. I really do. I do enjoy it. While it has its flaws, while it does have shaky cams and movements that are too fast for you to see because of the shaky cam, I understand it's to show off the skill that these people are incredibly fast and whatnot. However, they could sort of stabilize the camera a little bit so it doesn't do too much of a shake job on general moviegoers. But otherwise, other than that, I thought that the movie was actually very well done. It had good writing. It had good action. It had good direction. And you believe the performances of these actors. You don't feel that they're just acting. You actually believe in their performances. And that is very well done. I really do think that they do a good job with small continuity issues or with small continuity things like placements and whatnot. They did a good job with that. But other than that, folks, yeah, stay tuned for next month or next week for the Bourne Ultimatum. And stay tuned for Mars channel or for Society Reviews channel tonight, 9 p.m. I will be on Society Reviews channel to help, or with the Barroom podcast. I will be on Odin's channel, OMB Reviews, tonight at 7 p.m. Not on his channel, but I will be modding his chat for his Tuesday streams. And I will also be tomorrow, Mars channel for ones and twos. And I will be on my channel for the singles on Thursday, both of them at 8 p.m. We're talking TMNT Part 2 on her channel, Secrets of the Ooze, and my channel is Shin Godzilla. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to Hatersaurus and Vanya for tuning in, and anybody in the chat who was paying attention and whatnot. Y'all are freaking amazing and awesome people. Thank you so much. Y'all have a wonderful day, and always remember, stay humble.